Hello students, your teacher here, another episode of Geometry. This is lesson 1.5 and this is all about angle relationships. And so I've got this graphic organizer that I want to do with you guys, and I don't have a printout for this, so you'll actually need to write this on a sheet of paper. But angle relationships, there are 5 different types of angles. Angle relationships, I'm sorry. You've already learned the types of angles. Those are acute, obtuse, right, and straight. So now we've got the 5 angle relationships. And the first one is vertical angles. Vertical angles are 2 angles across from each other on intersecting lines. 2 angles across from each other on intersecting lines. Okay, and it kind of looks like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So vertical lines would be angle 1 and angle 2 and angle 3 and angle 4. Okay, so vertical angles. And I'll just go ahead and highlight those so it's just more clear. And vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so let me put that in there. Okay. All right, they are always congruent. All right, so the next type of angle, let's go in reverse clockwise order, is adjacent angles. Okay. Adjacent angles are 2 angles that are next to each other and share a common side. Okay, so an example of this would be a situation where you have not necessarily a bisector, but just a ray that separates an angle into 2 angles. Okay. All right. So we've done vertical, done vertical, we've done adjacent. Okay. Next angle relationship is complementary angles. Okay, complementary angles. Oops, don't want to do red. Okay. Complementary angles are any 2 angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Any 2 angles whose sum equals 90 degrees. So an example would be similar to adjacent angles. However, the difference is that the whole angle is a 90-degree angle. Okay. Okay. So complementary angles. Any 2 angles whose sum equals 90 degrees. Supplementary angles These are similar to complementary, except supplementary are any two angles whose sum equals, let me remember how to spell here, EQUALS equals 180 degrees, okay? So this would be like, a straight angle, okay, with a ray coming out of it there. And so this would be 135, and then this would be 45. So those two angles together would add up to equal 180. Okay. And then the last angle relationship is a linear pair. And a linear pair are two angles that are adjacent. And supplementary. They form a straight line. And it kind of looks like our example from supplementary angles. So your example, actually it looks just like your example from supplementary angles. So angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180 degrees. So the difference really is that supplementary angles don't always have to form a straight line. Okay, sometimes you can have supplementary angles that don't even share a side. Okay. All right, so that would be linear pairs. All right, so my 5 angle relationships. Let's recap. Vertical angles, 2 angles across from each other on intersecting lines, and they are congruent. Adjacent angles, 2 angles that are next to each other and share a common side. Complementary angles, any 2 angles whose sum equals 90 degrees. Supplementary angles, any 2 angles whose sum equals 180 degrees. And linear pair, 2 angles that are adjacent and supplementary. They form a straight line. Okay, so we've learned about the different types of angle relationships. Now let's answer some questions. Number 1, find the missing measures in each figure. Okay, well, these 2 angles are vertical angles, and I know vertical angles are congruent. So x equals 112 degrees. Number 2, I see the box at the bottom of this angle, and so I know that these are complementary angles. Okay, they form, they add up to equal 90. So I can do 90 minus 68, and that gives me 22. This is a linear pair. Okay, I can see that they form a straight angle. And so 180 minus 124 equals 56. All right, number 4. So Z and 43 form a straight angle. So 180 minus 43 equals Z, and that is 137. And then Z and X are vertical, so X equals 137. And Y and 43 are vertical, so Y equals 43. Number 5. let's see here. Y and 72 are vertical, so y equals 72 degrees. X is a straight angle with y, so I can say that x equals 180 minus 72, which is 108. And z, so this is 90, and I know this forms a straight angle, so z is equal to 90 minus 72, which is 18 degrees. Okay. Number 6, angle 1 and 2 are vertical angles. If the measure of 2 is 105, find the measure of 1. Well, if they're vertical angles, then I know that they're the same. Okay, so angle 1 equals 105 degrees. Number 7, angle A and B are complementary. That means they add up to equal 90. If the measure of angle A is 42, find the measure of angle B. Well, 90 minus 42 equals 48. Number 8, angle P and Q are supplementary angles. That means they add up to equal 180. The measure of angle Q is 64. Find the measure of angle P. So the measure of angle P is equal to 180 minus 64. And that is 116 degrees. Number 9, angle 1 and 2 form a linear pair, which means they add up to equal 180. If the measure of angle 1 is 113 degrees, find the measure of angle 2. So that's 180 minus 113, which is 67 degrees. All right, now we got some examples using algebra. If the measure of angle PQT is 3x plus 47, and the measure of angle SQR is 6x minus 25, find the measure of angle SQR. All right, so the first thing I need to do is solve for x and then substitute x in for angle SQR's expression. And these are vertical angles, so I know they're equivalent, or congruent is the correct term. 3x plus 47 is equal to 6x minus 25. Subtract 6x to get the variable on one side. Subtract 47 as we start to isolate the variable. And divide by 3, negative 3. Looks like x equals 72 divided by 3, 24. So if x equals 24, then the measure of angle SQR is equal to 6 times 24 minus 25. And 6 times 24 minus 25 is 119 degrees. Okay. Number 11, if AB is perpendicular to CD, so that means these both are 90-degree angles. The measure of angle DCE is 7x plus 2, and the measure of angle ECB is x plus 8. Find the measure of angle DCE. All right, so we got to solve for x, and these two angles, DCE and ECB, are complementary angles, which means that they add up to equal 90. So we're going to solve this equation for x and then substitute into the expression for angle DCE. So combine like terms, that's 8x plus 10 equals 90. Subtract 10. 8x equals 80, divide by 8. X equals 10. So if x equals 10, then the measure of angle DCE is equal to 7 times 10 plus 2, which is 72 degrees. Okay. Number 12, if the measure of angle KNM is 8x minus 5, and the measure of angle MNJ is 4x minus 19, find the measure of angle KNM. Okay, so these two form a linear pair. Okay, I know that they add up to equal 180 because this is a straight line. Okay, so that's 180. And then this side would also be 180, forming 360-degree circle. Okay, so we can say that 8x minus 5 plus 4x minus 19 is equal to 180 degrees. Combine like terms, that's 12x minus 24 equals 180. Add 24 to both sides. 12x equals 204. And then 204 divided by 12 is 17. Okay, if x equals 17, then the measure of angle KNM is equal to 8 times 17 minus 5. And 8 times 17 minus 5 is equal to 131 degrees. Okay. Page number 13. If the measure of angle DEG is 5x minus 4, and the measure of angle GEF is 7x minus 8, and the measure of angle DEH is 9y plus 5, find the values of x and y. All right, so I think we should solve for x first. And then once we know what angle GEF is, since it's vertical to DEH, we can set angle DEH equal to the measure of angle GEF. So here we go. 5x minus 4 plus 7x minus 8 equals 180. Combine like terms. Okay. Add 12 to both sides. 192 divided by 12 is 16. Okay, if x equals 16, then angle GEF equals 7 times 16 minus 8. And 7 times 16 minus 8 is 104. Okay, so that means angle DEH, 9y plus 5, is equal to 104 because this angle and this angle are congruent because they're vertical. And so we can solve this in 2 quick steps. Subtract 5. 9y equals 99. Divide by 9. Y equals 11. So x is 16. Y is 11. Number 14. Angle R and angle S are complementary angles. That means they add up to equal 90. If the measure of angle R equals 12x minus 3, and the measure of angle S is 7x minus 2, find the measure of angle R. So we got to solve this for x and then substitute x into the expression for angle R. Combine like terms, that's 19x minus 5 equals 90, add 5. 19x equals 95, and then divide by 19. X equals 5. Okay? If x equals 5, then the measure of angle R is equal to 12 times 5 minus 3. 12 times 5 is 60, minus 3 is 57 degrees. Number 15, angle P and angle Q are supplementary angles. That means they add up to equal 180. If the measure of angle P is 4x plus 1, and the measure of angle Q is 9x minus 3, find the measure of angle Q. So we got to solve for x and then substitute x into the expression for angle Q. Combine like terms, that's 13x minus 2 equals 180. Add 2 to both sides as we start to solve for x. Isolate the variable. And then divide by 13. 182 divided by 13 is equal to 14. And if x equals 14, then the measure of angle Q is equal to 9 times 14 minus 3. And 9 times 14 minus 3 is 123 degrees. Okay. 16. Angle 1 and 2 form a linear pair, which means their sum is 180 degrees. The measure of angle 2 is 6, so we have a little interpreting to do here. 6 more than twice the measure of angle 1. So, angle 1 equals x. Angle 2 equals 2x plus 6. Find the measure of angle 2. So we can say 2x plus 6 plus x equals 180 degrees. Combine like terms, that's 3x plus 6 equals 180. Subtract 6. 3x equals 174, and divide by 3. 174 divided by 3 is 58. If we're finding the measure of angle 2, we substitute 58 in for x. 50 times 2 is 100. 8 times 2 is 16. So 116 plus 6 is 122. Number 17, angle J and K are complementary. This means their sum is 90 degrees. The measure of angle J is 18 less than the measure of angle K. So angle K equals x. Angle J equals x minus 18. Less than is a backward word phrase. Okay. So when we write the expression for angle J, it's 18 or x minus 18, not 18 minus x. So since they're complementary, their sum equals 90. Combine like terms. Add 18. And 108 divided by 2 is 54. So the measure of angle K equals 54 degrees, and then the measure of angle J equals 54 minus 18, which is 36 degrees. And since these were complementary, they should add up to equal 90, which they do. Okay. Number 18, if UW bisects TUV, that means these two angles are congruent if they bisect. Okay. The measure of angle TUW is 13x minus 5, and the measure of angle WUV is 7x plus 31. Find the value of x. So since it bisected the base angle, we knew that those were congruent. So we can say 13x minus 5 is equal to 7x plus 31. And just got to get the variable on one side and solve for x. Subtract 7x from both sides. Okay, that's 6x minus 5 equals 31. Add 5. 6x equals 36. Divide by 6. X equals 6. Okay. 19, if MO bisects PMN, so that means this angle and this angle are congruent. The measure of angle PMN equals 74 degrees. Okay. The measure of angle OMN is 2x plus 7. Find the value of x. So we can say, since these two angles are congruent and we don't have an expression for PMO, we can say twice angle OMN equals 74. So 2 times 2x plus 7 equals 74 degrees. And we need to distribute. Okay, that's 4x plus 14 equals 74. Subtract 14 from both sides. 4x equals 60. Divide by 4. X equals 15. Number 20, last example. If EF bisects CEB, that means this angle and this angle are congruent. The measure of angle CEF is 7x plus 21, and the measure of angle FEB is 10x minus 3. Find the measure of angle DEB. So it's asking for this angle, which is interesting. Okay, so CED, this entire angle is 180 degrees. So if I find CEF and then FEB and subtract them from 180, I should get DEB. So here we go. Let me erase some of those markings. Since those two angles are congruent, I know that I can set those two expressions equal to each other. Solve. Okay. X equals 8. If x equals 8, then I can substitute in for the measure of angle CEF. And 7 times 8 plus 21 equals 56 plus 21, which is 77 degrees. Okay. So I know that FEB is congruent, so we can just multiply that by 2, and I get 154 degrees for those two angles together. And then to find the missing angle here, okay, a little missing angle, all I have to do is subtract. So the measure of angle DEB is equal to 180 degrees minus 154, which is 26 degrees. I am your teacher. This is the way.